Western Mass News has obtained the police report associated with the gun discharge at Sci-Tech High School in Springfield from March 11th. Per the report, 45-year-old Dana Dudley, 22-year-old Josiah Livingston, and 20-year-old Chance Dudley appeared at the school initially in order to pick up Dana Dudley's daughter from school to, quote, due to a, quote, physical altercation. The report states that while Dana Dudley was speaking with the school's principal, Josiah and Chance entered a hallway, which is when the gun was discharged. At the same time, Chance yelled out, quote, "Dad, I can't see," because he had been sprayed with pepper spray. Dana Dudley was detained by the principal and a knife was taken from him. So far, Livingston has faced a judge and he pleaded not guilty to assault and battery charges in connection with the shooting. And Dana Dudley has also faced a judge, and he's too pleaded not guilty. His charges include carrying a dangerous weapon on school grounds and armed breaking and entering in the daytime for a felony, putting a person in fear. Chance Dudley, the son of Dana Dudley, still remains at large. Upon his arrest, police say Chance will face the following charges: discharging a firearm within 500 feet of a building, assault and battery with a dangerous weapon, malicious destruction of property more than $1,200, and several other gun-related charges. After months of past